Jason, you know I don't like you. Carrie, it doesn't matter. I love you, and that's how it's going to be. I told her, a sadistic smile printed on my face. I reached in the back seat and pulled out a long knife. Now, am I going to have to use this? She cowered in the passenger seat and reached for the door handle, hoping I wouldn't notice. I chuckled at her stupidity and drove the blade through her wrist. She screamed, the knife going right through into the leather of the door. She tried pulling the knife out, my arm across her stomach, holding her in her seat. She writhed in pain, her scream rising in volume. "What the hell, Jason?" she screamed, a mix of fear and anger filling her voice. I laughed, pulling the knife out. Her arm fell to her side, blood covering her pink tank top. I looked out the windshield. The long dock before us was drowned in darkness of the night. All of the lights have been shut off only an hour before. I took the car out of the park and put my foot on the brake, preparing for the final moment. "Say it." "Say what?" she begged, tears filling her eyes. Her sobs became increasingly violent as she started to curse at me. "Say you love me, or we both die tonight." She glared at me and flipped me off. I sighed and returned the stare. "I see," I let out as I stomped on the gas. Before I knew it, it was pitch black in the car. I grabbed a flashlight from the glove compartment and flickered it on. I looked around, the sound of the windows cracking growing louder and louder. I laughed, looking at the small silhouette of fishes in the dark green abyss just outside the car. Carrie stirred in her seat, not yet regaining consciousness. She coughed blood, covering her side of the windshield. I took the key out of the ignition. The headlights turned off. Outside turned from dark green to pitch black. I finally realized that the fall smashed her head into the dash. She was silent, but her chest was barely moving. I buckled my seatbelt and fastened hers, making sure it was tight enough to hold her in. I looked at the windshield as we hit the bottom of the ocean, the beach to our backs. I took the flashlight and flipped it in my hand, contemplating what my next move. Finally, I decided what I would do. I threw it into the window, the glass shattering and allowing water to fill the car. I glanced at Carrie. She regained consciousness. She started to panic as the saltwater filled her lungs. The water around her head began to tinge a dark red. I smiled, finally deciding that I won. I laid back and closed my eyes, my chest burning as my lungs gave out. The only thing left was the spirit of the sea.